Welcome to the show, everyone. It's the Crypto Lark coming to you from New Zealand, bringing you this May 23rd edition of what is happening in crypto. Bitcoin, $7,932, down 5.25% on the 7-day. Ethereum, 634, down 9.21% on the 7-day. Overall, the markets are red, red, red.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Don't worry, guys. This is crypto. Any of the OGs who've been here for a while, this is what happens. It's a pretty brutal time, though, and the reasonings behind the current market downtrend are many and varied. Some, of course, are talking about the GDPR and what the implications of that might be. There might be a bit of jitters around that. Of course, I think the primary reasoning for the current downtrend in the market, it's pizza day, guys. Bitcoin pizza day. Everyone is out there dumping their Bitcoin to buy bucket loads of pizza. That's what's going on. It's as good as explanation as probably many of the others, although the GDPR one is quite compelling currently. But you have to think, wow, is Bitcoin really so reactionary to all of these tiny little news stories? Perhaps we're just seeing, of course, a bit of a continuation of recent trends in the market. Although, since it is Bitcoin Pizza Day, if you want to pick yourselves up a red Ledger wallet, well, the guys over at Ledger are having that out today. A slightly more compelling offer, though, from the guys over at Trezor with a 10% discount. If you want to go over there and pick up one of their new Model Ts, for example. Mine has just arrived. I'm pretty excited to actually get it hooked up and test it out. China's largest TV network broadcasts warning on cryptocurrency investing to 1.2 billion people. Wowzers. This is, of course, a continued effort by the Chinese government to dissuade its citizens from investing in currencies that they can't control. In this presentation, they talked to a man named Yang Chao, a citizen of China, who basically, it seems, did the classic investing strategy for making tons of money with Bitcoin, buying high and selling low. He said he mistimed his bets. Well, it's not betting, man. Holy cow. And so, what does he say? The government has failed to protect my investments. This guy has got the totally wrong mentality. The point of Bitcoin, of course, is to get away from this whole structure and to see, of course, it's state-run propaganda, guys. We all know this. It's no surprise, but it just really gives people the whole wrong perception. The government's not there to protect you anyway. The governments have largely proven themselves to be bad at protecting people. Latest in propaganda, guys. Speaking of governments, Bitcoin-owning contractors with U.S. security clearance may be flagged as risky. Now, in the United States, a lot of people have security clearance. A lot of people work for the government, so they're automatically excluding potentially millions or at least hundreds of thousands of people from owning cryptocurrencies. Now, this hasn't been definitively decided yet, but it seems pretty crazy when you think about it. But perhaps they're more thinking, anyone who's owning Bitcoin, they're probably subversives and unpatriotic, or is Bitcoin going to be the new communism for the Pentagon? Time will tell, of course. The Federal Reserve's Kashkari rips cryptocurrency market. It has become a farce, he says. It's a clever idea that some people came up with, but now it's being taken to ridiculous extremes. You know, I remember another clever idea that some people came up with. It was the credit default swaps that caused the subprime mortgage crisis back in 2008. That was taken to ridiculous extremes. However, the barrier to entry to that, unlike with Bitcoin, was very high. Well, for the banks anyway. Of course, they were just throwing these loans around to people. Of course, the thing in that situation is that none of those people got in trouble. No, in fact, they got bailouts from the government. He goes on to say, if you can dupe enough people to buy it, you can pretend that you've launched something. Look, I'm a billionaire because I sold you one, and I own the other 999 million of them. So that means I'm a billionaire. So it has become a farce. I'm seeing more noise and more fraud than seeing anything useful. Again, for a Federal Reserve chief to come out talking about fraud is ridiculous. Now, the guys from Centra, they've been arrested and taken to court, and they should have been, but no bankers went to jail for the 2008 crisis. They are picking on cryptocurrencies, and yeah, there is a lot of fraud and there's a lot of scamming, and I wish that they would apply the law equally. It goes back to our old saying, the strong will do what they can and the weak will suffer what they must. Governments. Argentina, bank ditches SWIFT for Bitcoin in world payments first. That's super interesting. Now, I just made a review of Ripple yesterday, of course, focused on doing payments, but the whole time I was doing my Ripple review, I was just thinking, hey, wait a second. Why not just use Bitcoin? Apparently, this bank in Argentina thought, you know what? Let's just use Bitcoin. That's cool. Over in Zimbabwe, the Gold Exchange files a lawsuit against the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe over their cryptocurrency ban. Be super interested to see how this turns out. Will the Zimbabwean courts actually work and uphold Golex's claims? Interesting. Time will tell, of course, but I hope that the courts will rule in the favor of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and rule against the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. The practicalities of that happening, though, I'm not holding my breath. Over in Russia, the State Duma almost unanimously, one person dissented, approves the first reading of crypto industry bill. That's just the first reading, but that is a pretty good first reading. So hopefully we'll see this come into law here very soon, where we'll see cryptocurrencies treated as property. They have actually gone quite in depth with looking at tokens, cryptocurrencies, mining, ICOs, taxes, all this different stuff. So it should be a pretty comprehensive bill when it actually hits. Verge, blockchain exploited again. Hackers steal 1.7 million. Second time in 2 months that the Verge blockchain has been cracked open and they've stolen money. This is insane. If anyone has any faith in Verge after this, it's based out of delusion. It's one thing to look at Verge and say, well, okay, you know what? It's a speculative thing. I'm going to get into it. Well, okay, I can get that. That's cool. But if you're actually like a real community member of Verge, still, you got to really ask yourself some questions. Why? This is the second time the blockchain has been exploited. They were supposed to have fixed this exact thing 2 months ago when it was exploited the first time, but they didn't do it. Not to mention, of course, all the other malarkey going on with them raising money from their audience in order to sign a partnership and all this stuff. Very, very disappointing news indeed. Circle adds buy the market feature to its crypto investment app. This is an intriguing development. Of course, buying the market, so if you want to go in and buy the top 20 coins, for example, so you put $1,000 in and you put $50 into each of the top 20 coins, that's buying the market, so to speak. That's pretty cool. I think this could be a really powerful feature for the app. Nice. Of course, we're going to see others doing that. Ethos is aiming to do a similar thing, so the competition's on, guys. And final story of the day, the IOTA Foundation signing a deal with UN Ops. Very cool stuff. This is really a thought-provoking story for me because the UN is such a bureaucratic organization that has suffered a lot from corruption and lack of transparency and all these different things, and this is exactly what they want to do. They want to help them increase transparency. So this could be a very, very interesting thing. And of course, there's so much bureaucratic waste at the UN as well, which means that a lot of this money, which is intended for these projects to make the world a better place, doesn't end up where it's supposed to be. That makes for a very powerful partnership for IOTA and a cool addition to the United Nations. That's all for today. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.